There is a moment many parents feel but rarely say out loud. It is the moment when you realize your children are growing away from you faster than you can adjust. One day they fit easily in your arms. The next day they live in a world you do not fully understand. That gap can feel scary. It can feel like time slipping. This story begins in that gap. Not with technology but with longing. The longing to stay connected when the old ways no longer work. The context here is modern childhood. Children today grow up surrounded by screens, games, and online spaces. These are not extras in their lives. They are the places where friendships form, skills grow, and identity takes shape. Many adults look at these spaces from the outside and feel unsure or worried. We wonder if we should pull kids away from them. We worry about danger, distraction, and distance. But what if the question is not how do we pull them back, but how do we step in? The first surface insight is simple and gentle. Connection grows when we meet people where they are. When children are small, we naturally do this. We sit on the floor. We play pretend. We read the same book again and again. As they grow, we often stop following and start directing. We ask them to come into our world instead. But connection weakens when curiosity fades. Stepping into a game world is not about loving the game. It is about loving the person inside it. When a parent joins play, even awkwardly, something shifts. Laughter appears. Teaching flows both ways. Roles soften. The child becomes the guide. The adult becomes the learner. That role change builds trust. The hidden assumption beneath this is that play stops being valuable as children grow older. We treat play as childish and conversation as mature. But play never stops being meaningful. It just changes form. Competition, strategy, teamwork, and emotional control live inside games. These are not distractions from life. They are practice for life. When teens play together, they are learning how to lead, how to follow, how to lose, how to win, and how to stay regulated under pressure. When adults dismiss this, they miss an opening. When adults join it, they gain insight. The third insight reveals a structural pattern. Shared activity lowers pressure. When people do something together, they do not need to fill silence with words. This makes connection easier, especially across distance or difference. A video game allows family members in different cities or countries to share time without forcing conversation. It allows new relationships to form without awkwardness. It creates memory through experience rather than talk. This pattern is powerful. It works in families, friendships, and teams. Doing something side by side often builds more closeness than talking face to face. A new perspective starts to form here. Games are not the opposite of connection. They are a language. Like any language, they can be used poorly or well. When adults avoid the language entirely, children learn alone. When adults learn the language alongside children, guidance becomes possible. Safety improves. Understanding deepens. The fear many parents feel about online spaces is valid. But fear does not protect. Presence does. Being there allows modeling boundaries, kindness, and resilience. It turns unknown spaces into shared ones. Applying this to daily life can be very practical. Say yes more often to invitations that feel unfamiliar. Sit down even when you feel clumsy. Ask questions even when you feel slow. Let children teach you. Notice how they communicate under stress. Notice how they support teammates. Notice how they recover from loss. These moments reveal character. Schools have noticed this too. Competitive gaming in schools creates belonging for students who may not fit traditional sports. It values thinking, reaction, teamwork, and strategy. It welcomes different bodies, backgrounds, and abilities. It shows that inclusion grows when we widen the idea of what counts. There is also an optional, deeper layer worth sitting with. Many adults worry that technology replaces real connection. But often it reveals it. The real loss happens when we refuse to adapt our ways of connecting. Past generations worried about television. Generations before that worried about books. Each time the fear was about distance. But connection survived because people chose to share experiences anyway. The memory of a parent playing even briefly can last a lifetime. Not because the game was important but because the choice was. Choosing to enter a child world says you matter enough for me to learn something new. That message stays. Even after the game ends. Even after childhood passes. Over time, these small yes moments create a pattern. A parent who listens. A parent who plays. A parent who is present even when uncomfortable. That presence builds stories children tell later. Stories about laughter. Stories about being seen. Stories about effort. And sometimes those stories lead to unexpected paths. New communities. New programs. New stages. But none of that is the goal. The goal remains simple. Stay connected. Connection does not require mastery. It requires willingness. It requires humility. It requires showing up without knowing how to open the door. In the end, the most powerful part of this story is not about games or schools or events. It is about saying yes before you understand the outcome. That yes keeps doors open. It keeps relationships alive. It keeps time from slipping away unnoticed. So when someone you love invites you into their world today, even if it feels strange, unfamiliar, or uncomfortable, what might happen if you chose to step in and play along?